The council is asking the public for ideas over a £50 million shortfall. I'm going to read into this more from the BBC, you guys. So it says that a council is asking residents for suggestions on how funds could be spent in the next financial year. So this is obviously Kent County Council. This is obviously a reform controlled council, specifically for those who are wondering which council specifically we're talking about here. This is the same Reform UK people who have their own Doge government efficiency that they're looking to cut as well. £50 million. That's a huge amount of money for them to try and save and try and scunge up. And I honestly don't know how they're going to solve that. But I guess a question asking on my mind here, if you're looking at this, is it right that they should be asking the public for ideas when isn't the whole point of them being elected and nominated in these roles so that they can solve any and all these situations for us? Isn't that what we pay them for? Like, isn't that what they're paid in their jobs, whatever it is, to solve these things and not have to go to the public to say, we don't know how to do something, X, Y, or Z. Maybe that's just me just putting that there, but I could be. Some people could accuse me of being hypocritical because it is Reform UK, because other political parties running other councils are in the same hole as Reform are when it comes to trying to find and plug the gaps for these shortfalls. And this is where I've said that while the Rachel Reeves has provided in previous budgets some funds towards the councils, it's nowhere near helping them in the current situation. And in fact, that it's only going to get worse for them, for councils, unless more funding is provided. And you can only cut so much, because if you cut too much, you end up with a situation where people could literally die as a result. People's education will suffer as a result. There are limits to how much cutting you can do, and sometimes the public don't always know the correct answer on how to deal with things. Public can be helpful, but they don't always know the answer, especially when they don't know how to run a council. So the appeal comes after Kent County Council, that's KCC, announced it was facing a shortfall of £50 million for the 2026-2027 period. The Reform UK-led authority said it was difficult money-saving decisions will be necessary. But opposition councillors believe that figure could be much higher. The council, which according to the Local Democracy Reporting Service is in financial peril due to years of squeezing funding and soaring costs, must set a balanced budget by law. It wants to hear about which services residents wish to protect, how savings could be made, and suggestions for how it could generate more income as part of its consultation exercise. As a country's largest authority with a population of 1.6 million, excluding Medway, it receives about £2.6 billion with a net income of £1.4 billion. The council has been trying to find ways of reducing the high spent areas, such as the near £100 million bill for special needs pupils' home to school transport, to drive down overall cost. The previous Conservative administration warned that the income did not match its outgoings, especially since adult social care bills continue to rise each year. The Deputy Leader, Brian Collins of Reform UK, said its priorities was to achieve financial stability. Our Department of Local Government Efficiency, that's Doge, has been working since day one in May and is working to identify areas of waste, he said. So far we have seen a new approach to potholes and a renewed home to school transport system. This work continues at pace. The Conservative former Deputy Finance Cabinet member Harry Rayner said, I suspect the £15 million shortfall mentioned by the new administration would appear to me to be on the low side. It will face the same difficulties that we have faced, that councils are facing all over the country. Yeah, this is the thing. They like everyone else, is going to have to make difficult decisions. But this was, for me, the fact that this is still happening to councils is a massive failure on Labour. And this, I'm not just talking about Reform's one here. I'm talking about all councils. And it seems to me like the only logical thing is, because there doesn't seem to be the magic money tree that Rachel Reeves wants to give out to them, or nowhere near enough to them, and yet can find money for wars. Of course, you can always find money for wars or defensive budget. But when it comes to councils, ensuring that there is sufficient budget, ensuring that enough money is being spent, I would really like to see, council tax frozen at least. I would like to see a situation where the councils are not struggling to find ends meet every day, trying to make every single penny of theirs count. Now, does this mean that all councils have to learn to manage their budgets a hell of a lot better than they have been doing over the last 10 to 20 years? Absolutely. But if you don't get enough, if you're only getting so much money from the government, and you are in a situation where you're having to cut things that really, really badly affect people, it doesn't look good on them whatsoever. Protecting fundamental services really, really do matter. And of course, you cannot forget the most vulnerable people in society as well. So what do you guys honestly think? Do you agree that, like reform, is it right that we should be asking the public on ideas of what to do as well? Maybe maybe every council should be doing this if they're not doing this. But some people are saying it's going to be more than 50 million as well. But let me know your thoughts and more about councils in your area, or this council's particular situation, down in the comment section below. Because unless there's more funding, I don't see a way out of this right now. But if you found this video interesting and informative, hit that like button, share it across social media, subscribe if you haven't already. Do check out Rumble and Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. And if you want to financially support me in the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.